So, in business, you need to get the right mix across the three key pillars in business. I call those the three M's: money, marketing, and manpower.
Hello and welcome to Meet the Coach. I'm your host, Carla Egan, and our theme for today, our conversation is centered around that you're never too small to start. Our guest coach joining me today is Taryn Paddle from Advisor Consulting. Taryn has a corporate background in business transformation and leadership. She's very passionate about helping business owners and takes a really unique approach to supporting businesses in different stages of their maturity and development. Taryn's based in Victoria, Australia, and joins me today. Hi, Taryn. Welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Hi, Carla. Thanks for having me. It's really great to be here today.
Our theme is centered around that you're never too small to start. I'm keen to jump into this topic, but before we do that, can you share with us your experience in business transformation and in leadership, and what led you into coaching and into running your own business?
I'd love to. So, throughout my corporate career, I've had the opportunity to work on some truly incredible life-changing projects, starting when I was going through university in Africa, working on the port of Beira in Mozambique, securing shipping lines, right through to my time here when, after I moved to Australia, I was given some incredible opportunities to work on life-changing business transformation moments for large corporates. And businesses positioning to sell. So what led me to coaching was really a passion for helping others and working with other business owners and seeing the impacts that support can provide to them. And what led me to open my own business was really a determination to be different in coaching. And if you want to be different, you've got to do it on your own, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love your journey. And you mentioned Africa, so you have international business experience, and I think that's important for businesses that are looking to go offshore and scale. So thanks for sharing a bit of your background in that. I want to dive deeper into that. But before we do, our theme for our conversation is you're never too small to start, and I just want to dive into that and explore, what does that actually mean to you?
Never too small to start is really based around a comment I hear from business owners all the time. Many of them believe that their business is too small and doesn't warrant having a business coach, or they believe the cost will be too much. My response is that you're never too small to start. What I've done to combat that excuse is create an offering that serves even micro businesses, like the young entrepreneur that makes candles in the kitchen, selling on social media, or even someone that sells handmade items at a craft market on the weekend.
You raise a good point because, businesses start with one person and they usually start at the kitchen table. So, your example of the candle maker or, someone working in a market is a really good one. And because we're talking about you're never too small to start. But how do you support businesses like that, the small startups where cash flow is an important component in those early stages? So how do you, as a business coach, work with them and how do you tackle that inconsistent cash flow for them to invest in an expert?
Yeah, certainly. So coaching is delivered in a group format with, say, a maximum of 10 participants. Some groups meet face-to-face when restrictions obviously don't apply here in Victoria, and others on Zoom. And this allows the coaching program to be delivered nationally, but helps them as well in their learning. Groups are created with the participants in mind and carefully put together to ensure that all will benefit. And in turn, they then form a board of directors for each other's small business. Then during our first session, we collectively agree on goals that everyone wants to achieve, and outcomes are determined. And this forms their learning journey and offers them the ability to work with a coach that can help guide and grow their business while learning from others too.
I love that approach, and I think it's quite unique because I haven't heard of a business coach taking that approach to micro businesses. I do want to pick up on one comment you mentioned. They act as a board of directors for one another, and I can see this as a wonderful learning platform for the group program, and they're getting different perspectives from other business owners that may be at very similar stages in their journey of starting up. And I think that's really fantastic, Taryn. Well done.
Thank you.
Now, you also have a successful startup program, and I'm curious to know how is that different to your group program?
So the statistics for startups failing within their first 3 years is at 60%. And of those that fail, 50% of them are profitable. And so when I saw those numbers, I was really astonished. So I did some research into why. And the overwhelming response I got from business owners was basically their lack of knowledge that they had when starting the business. They also underestimated the time, energy, and effort that you'd have to put in to make it successful. And they also didn't know how to scale and build the business. So many owners actually burnt out quite quickly. Other reasons were around poor planning or no plans at all, and insufficient market research. That was when I really decided that I needed to create a program that focused on that startup community so that I would work with business owners to increase their understanding of business in general.
Thank you. Look, I've just written down something that you said here. I just wanted for you to expand on it if you can. You said that 60% of small businesses fail within their first 3 years, and 50% of that, so 30% of that 60, they're actually profitable, yet they've failed in their first 3 years. Have you got an example to share, around those statistics? Because that's quite alarming. A successful business, a profitable business, still fails in their first 3 years.
Absolutely. So an example that comes to mind is that at the start of 2021, had a young couple reach out as they had started down the path of making a decision to open up a business, and they had already secured a retail space. The owner had always dreamed of opening up a pizza shop. So equipment had been ordered, and thanks to a small business loan and some savings, they had gotten the business underway. So in our first meeting, we did some market research into how many pizza shops were already set up in the area. The answer was 7 in a 600-metre walk along the main street and around the corner into an eateries precinct. We then conducted some polling in the community using some community-type tools like Facebook, and asked what people wanted to see coming into the area, where they would eat and what was missing. And along with some trend analysis, identified that people were really after Mexican. Now, if we go back to that 60% failure rate and 30% of them are being profitable, no doubt that a pizza shop would have earned money, no doubt that they would have made a profit. But to grow that business and for the owner to form financial freedom, they would have needed to continue to market and to continue to push their business while trying to be a louder voice than the other 7 pizza shops that were in the area. So realistically, the effort that would have gone into making that business successful would have led to owner burnout before really being able to reach financial freedom.
I love that story, and I love your level of involvement with this business. They're planning to do a pizza shop, and they ended up doing a marketing one because they engaged you and did the right planning at the early stages. So I love your level of involvement at that crucial planning stage. Let's just shift gears for a little bit if we can, and let's talk about businesses that have passed that 3-year stage. They're profitable, they are still in business, they're not one of those statistics. How do you work with them when they are established?
So businesses that have been running for a few years fall into one of 3 categories. The first being that they've plateaued and therefore need some guidance on how they can regroup to make improvements, such as operational efficiency, which will see them increasing revenue. The second category being growth. So they're seeing growth year on year, that the amount of effort that goes into creating that growth is too hard to maintain, which is likely to mean that the team component is needing attention. And then last, which is a slow or steady decline in sales, will often mean that the market has shifted and that the business hasn't adapted to that change in the industry. So the way that I work with these businesses is to understand which category they fall into. And then through one-on-one coaching, a plan is created to address that business area that needs improvement.
I like the categories because it allows you to then target or tailor your approach to that business and draw on your experience with other businesses that you've worked in the past. So yeah, I really love that, and it helps you place you in the position to best help them. So based on your common, your business experience, Taryn, and the different levels, the different categories of businesses that you're working with and helping, do you see any common challenges that are evident regardless of the business's maturity?
Absolutely. So in business, you need to get the right mix across the three key pillars in business. I call those the 3 M's: money, marketing, and manpower. And if any one of those is out, the business will likely be in a steady decline. So I'll give you an example. So you have a business owner, they have a full understanding of their profit and loss. They know how to price and perhaps even contract negotiate. So costs are really well managed. So the money component, taken care of. The business owner does not have staff. So the manpower component is themselves. They spend all their time performing the job. So how does the business grow? Should they stop working, the money stops. How do they get more business? Because they're too busy working in the business to focus on marketing. So the business owner here doesn't have the right mix. So when I work with my clients, we focus on all 3 aspects to get the mix right. It's about finding a balance in that ratio, because you can't have one without the other.
I like that approach, and I like your 3 M's. I haven't heard that before. You take a very structured approach to your business, and I dare say you carry that across to your clients as well. And I think most business owners need a bit of structure. So it sounds like your skills are really transferable. Doesn't matter what industry or what sector or how big or small your clients are, they are very transferable. So is there a particular industry, Taryn, that you prefer to work in, or who's your ideal client?
I work with clients across many different industries, from real estate agencies to recruitment companies, and childcare to allied health and everything in between. When I dissect my clients and look at the organizational structure of the business, my ideal client would be someone who's got 1 or 2 directors or a business owner, and then staff that deliver that product or service. So I believe that through innovation, any business can grow regardless of the industry.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I just want to touch base on, you said the word innovation in business. Can we just expand on that a little bit, if you can?
I've been lucky enough to coach a number of childcare centres, and as I'm sure you can appreciate, the industry is particularly complicated. So I'll give you an example. We had 2 centres to increase their enrolment rates, steady family retention rates, and decrease staff turnover. The difference was that one business was less than 12 months old, and the other business had been in business for 15 years. The approach for each business was really different. The new centre saw us run a campaign to drive awareness on social media. We had some open days to attract new families, and we used a platform to engage existing families. And we also changed the organisational structure of that business to increase the staff tenure. For the Experienced Centre, the brand was feeling a little tired. So we did a rebrand and launch, and we saw huge gains in the community. The business was updated to be in line with what parents expect from other centres and brought in new vendors to provide a difference to families that others in the area weren't really offering. The facility itself was given a small makeover to be more child-focused, and that didn't cost us anything because we were already using things that were already available in that business. And staff were trained to engage with inquiring families, resulting in a 95% conversion rate after a tour of the facilities. So both businesses in the same industry, in theory, they looked the same, but the activity that we did to increase both of those business outcomes was so vastly different. And without being innovative to that particular circumstance and business, results would not have been achieved.
What an amazing example. Two businesses, different levels of maturity, and the same challenge, but 95% conversion. That's incredible. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've shared some really amazing stories, really powerful ones where you actually have transformed the direction and the performance and profitability of a business. So look, how does that tie into our theme today? Like, you're never too small to start. Can you just wrap that up for us of linking those two together with what you've shared?
My theory is that all businesses should have a business coach in their corner. From keeping them accountable to working on growth projects within their business. No matter the size of the business, finding a coach to support that business venture is really key to the success. Hence, you're never too small to start working with a coach, and the right time is always now.
Yeah, and I love your group program. And, the group forms their board of directors for each business entity. And what a wonderful entry into engaging an expert like yourself in building people's businesses, and also forming a great community of entrepreneurs starting up in their business. I think you're doing some wonderful work in this space because it's much easier now to start a business than it has ever been. And but you've got the challenge of, 60% of businesses fail in those 3 years. So if you're making changes to 1 or 2 or 10 of those businesses, that's life-changing. So keep on doing what you're doing, Taryn. You're making a real difference.
Thank you, Carla. That's great.
Now, Taryn, you're a founding member of the Coaching Directory. What does joining the Coaching Directory mean to you and your business?
It's a really great question, and I thought about this one as well really carefully. For me, it's really about, when a business makes a decision that perhaps they need some support in their business, there's so much information available online, and it feels a bit like information overload. And when that happens, business owners sort of put it in the too hard basket because they're really too busy to focus on making that decision or trolling through all the information. What I love about the Coaching Directory is it gives busy people a platform to see what's available to them and help them make an informed decision on who they want to work with in their business. You've done an incredible job showcasing the business coaches across the country, so no doubt they'll find someone that works for them.
Thank you so much for those lovely words. And that brings us to the end of our interview. Thank you, Taryn, for joining us on Meet the Coach and for sharing your obvious passion and your successes for working with businesses, regardless of how big or small they are.
Thanks, Carla. It was really great being here today. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. And as always, thanks to those of you that are following our Meet the Coach series. If you enjoy our series, please rate and review us, and make sure you visit and check out the profile of Taryn Paddle from Advisor Consulting on the Coaching Directory. I'm Carla Egan, your host of this series, where we're making it easier for you to connect to your ideal coach.